All right. So thank you very much, Suleiman Diallo, for this very nice introduction. Thank you, Annette Zimmer, and then also Christian Müller for inviting us here and organizing everything. I feel, as we are the last persons on this panel, that quite some things that have been discussed in the last 24 hours, let's say, are responding to what we are also doing in our graduate school. And so we are very happy to have this opportunity to present to you the graduate school. Also later, 2 of our current PhD students, candidates, will be chipping in, telling something about their research. And then we can all have a discussion about what was being said and told. So as Suleiman Diallo already mentioned, our graduate school is called Performing Sustainability, Cultures and Development in West Africa. So a little bit about those bilateral SDG graduate schools. We are not the only SDG graduate school. Actually, we came out of a funding line that was proposed by the AED in 2015-16, let's say. And at the University of Hildesheim, 2 departments, the Department for Cultural Policy and then also the Center for World Music chose to combine forces, and then already contacts which were established with University of Maiduguri and University of Cape Coast to apply for this funding line. So we are financed by the German Academic Exchange Service, the AED, which you all know. And interestingly, maybe with connection to what Anne Dresen said yesterday, with funds from the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ. So what is the idea behind those graduate schools? Currently, there are 7 of them in different disciplinary fields at different universities in Germany. It is part of, or was part of the new German political agenda to improve academia in the countries of the so-called Global South. This is a goal which we also try to contest within our own graduate school, because even though we have the term development in our title, we reflect on it rather critically. And then also, I think we're rather focused on improving South-South academic cooperations and not necessarily North-South cooperations in a classical sense. So the current funding phase started in 2021, and unfortunately it will end with the ending of 2025. So we are already in the last 2.5 years and have to reflect on what might come after. But there was also a funding phase before, so from 2016 to 2020. So in the end, this project will have existed for almost 10 years, which is quite a long time for such a huge project, which solely depends on external funding. So this was a bit about the background and also the AAD funding line. So what are our own missions and approaches? So what is important to us is to really create a collaborative training network between the 3 universities that were already mentioned, and also in a sustainable sense, which means that we don't only have MA candidates in Maiduguri and PhD candidates in the 2 countries, but also, we have funding for staff, which is trained and who are developing competences. So this is also one of the sustainable aspects. What is interesting, I find, and which is a little bit maybe our unique selling point, as Roman yesterday mentioned it, is that we have a focus on arts and culture. And we are specifically looking into how arts and culture can foster sustainable development, how they influence it, and look at the intertwining aspects, so to speak, of arts and culture and sustainability. And we also have a specific focus, especially with regards to Maiduguri, and this is SDG number 16, so peace and strong institutions, because of a lot of our students, especially in the context of Boko Haram, they are researching on in the field of peace and conflict studies. So this rather broad topic brings together research projects in quite diverse fields. And we try to show a little bit, even though there are some icons missing, I realize, that we are intertwining a lot of different fields. So for example, you have people from the theater studies. So Aliu, who is going to speak later, is working on theater projects with the post-2001 generation in the city of Jos in Plateau State. Then we also have people, for example, who are coming from the field of communication studies and translation. We have one person who just started who is interested in translation of food labeling, so something that you would not necessarily suspect finding in the field of cultural studies, but in a broad sense, it is also a cultural aspect. We have people who are concerned with issues of equality, especially gender equality, people who are interested in music topics, and then, yes, also festivals and creative industries, people who are working on the influence of cultural practices on climate change, people who worked on, for example, on the building of scenery for theater. How can you do this in a sustainable way? How can you upcycle materials for theater scenery? Or currently, we also have one candidate who is working on the recycling of lorry tires. So this is also a huge aspect. And then, peace building, for example, there's one ongoing research project also on the reintegration of Boko Haram insurgents. And so just to show you that the thematics, the topics are very wide, but they all are kind of intertwined, even though people might be coming from different disciplinary perspectives. So I already spoiled what I was going to say now, but we are trying to do joint capacity building at the 3 universities, which means, as I said, for example, staff development, but also development of the existing infrastructures, for example, having solar panels on rooftops to guarantee energy supply, or having a conference room where so that we can all also connect from time to time, and know that we all be on board. For example, we have once a month, we have a colloquium, and for this is very nice just to have everyone on board in the same room in Maiduguri and know that we can connect at a certain day, a certain time, and everybody is there. Then what is special also is that we are researching in local contexts. So even though the subjects might seem to you as very global and universal, the answers or the focus are, they are often very, very local, so to say. So our PhD candidates and also MA candidates are going out in the local contexts in their fields and trying to work on these topics, on thematics with a regional focus. And then, we also try to make this research applied in a way. So often you find research projects which have a certain outcome. For example, the person who worked on theater scenery, she did not only theorize how you could build like a theater scenery in a sustainable way, but she also did it. She contributed to this this kind of theater plays, and then used this as a basis for her PhD research. So it's not only on a theoretical level, but also on a practical level that we can constantly see outputs of the PhD projects. Yes, and this is just a quick oversight to maybe remind you of what you already know, the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and then also to mention that we have this focus on number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. But of course, number 17 also plays a huge role for us, because already we have this partnership between the 3 universities, but then also with actors from civil society. And of course, there are topics which are related to other SDGs. For example, yes, gender equality is a huge issue that is continuously discussed within the research projects. I'm handing over to Naomi now.
I think one of the things I would like to add to what my colleague has said is that when it comes to the applied part of the project, we also try to leave something with the community that can also be carried on. So we don't just do our projects and go with our data, but we also do it in such a way that the community might have something in itself to keep going. Yes, the structure of the graduate school, she has already mentioned how it's a partnership, an equal partnership, which we're also proud to say, between the 3 different universities. And each university or each country has a director. In Germany, in Ghana, and also in Nigeria. We have coordinators, which we are both part of that team. Each country also has a coordinator, but I think in Germany, we have 2 coordinators. And we do that because one directly works with Ghana and the other coordinator works with Nigeria, just so that things would not be too much for each of them. Then we have the executive board and the steering committee. Each country has 3 members of staff. We also try to do it in such a way that the members of staff within each university is also involved actively within the project. This is also based on the sustainability aspect. So what do you do after the project, or what do you do after the funding phase? If the more we incorporate people within the project, especially the university lecturers, the better for us, because they are then involved and you can still reach out, especially when it comes to the multidisciplinarity of the project. Decisions are taken on an equal platform. So it's not like Germany takes a decision and just sends out memos to each of the universities, but then we have a platform where meetings take place, issues are tabled down, and everybody is heard. And we take decisions together. This is the picture of our first cohort. If you look at far right, I'm happy to say I was one of them. So, and it's another thing to kind of like put into sustainability thing. I did my PhD with the project, and immediately I finished. When the second funding came in, they incorporated me to run it from Nigeria. So I'm proud of that. Yeah, a picture of my colleagues. We have 6 PhDs in Nigeria, 6 PhDs in Ghana, but then Nigeria also has the special position of having 6 MA students also. And we also have created a center that houses the project, which is called Center for the Study and Promotion of Cultural Sustainability. So all the students in Nigeria study under this particular center, but then are also actively involved with the project. Then we have 2 by doctoral workshops, which take place in Ghana and in Nigeria. We've already done that of Ghana in February and March, I think. And the one that will be done in Nigeria, it's coming up in October. So we try, it's not just also putting all these things in writing, but we actively try to practice it. We don't just sit down on Zoom and keep talking to each other, but I think sometimes this personal experience of coming together, talking with each other also matters. And apart from that, we go a step further where we give the opportunities for our students and also the staff that are involved to, how do I put this, to experience, exactly, to experience each other's cultures. I think it has been clearly shown from yesterday that in spite of the fact that we are Africa, each of us has an identity. So yes, I can identify with my Ghanaian brother, but when you come to the nitty-gritty of it, we are different. There are certain places that we converge, and there are certain places that we also kind of like have a certain friction. So if you get to experience it hand in hand, it's not always about academia and all of that, but sometimes you also need to go to the general market, see how people live their lives. The clothing that we wear, this is proudly Ghanaian, actually, not even Nigerian. And just experience what it means to be a Nigerian or to be a Ghanaian. For that, we also have the exchange. Is it somewhere there? Yeah, well, we have a 3-month exchange where all the students from Nigeria and Ghana come to Germany and also now experience the German culture. So when they come, we try not to stuff them, sorry for the use of that word, but we try not to stuff them up with so many seminars and conferences, but they go to festivals, they go to art workshops, because a lot of our students are artists. So they try to experience different arts in different contexts. Because for us, what art is a total way of life. So it's not about having installations or going to the museum, for example. Yes, they exist, but if we want to consume art, is that necessarily what we do? The clothing we wear is art. The kind of food we eat is art. The way we prepare it, it's being prepared step by step. Just even that experience, I'm having goosebumps, sorry. But yeah, you get to experience it and also experience it on the German context. So the German person is not someone who is foreign to you or who is just, again, sorry for this word, white, but who exactly is the German? So you have this big funding body who gives you money to study, but where do they come from? How do they think? What do they consume? You know, so these experiences give us more light and sheds light and makes the German actually approachable and not just an abstract concept. Because I'm very sure the way some of you have never traveled to Africa, for example, a lot of us also haven't traveled to Europe. And I have come across a case where I said Germany, and they only think, oh, Germany is just the entirety of Europe. Well, that is not the case. So you can see how different narratives also play, and also how it's not just also from your perspective. We also have sometimes this blanket, just the white person. But the white person also has different characteristics that make them the white person, just like we do. I'm really sorry for using the white person. Yes, the court to tell. We have a dual certification process. If you're able to get a professor in Germany that would supervise you. Definitely we have professors for our scholars in each home university, but then we also try and expose them to the wider audience within the German context, and any professor that is interested in their work, or you as a candidate, if you think, oh, this professor would really impact my work, we try to mediate the processes, get them in contact with each other. And at the end of the day, if a partnership is forged, then you get the code to tell certification. So you get a certification in your home university, and you also get certified by the German university. And in this case, it's Hildesheim. Just in case you're wondering, Hildesheim is close to Hanover. I've gotten so many questions like, where is Hildesheim? Well, it's close to Hanover. So yeah, that is another plus for our candidates, because in the international context, and coming from where we are coming from, and these narratives of we have to be internationalized is a huge thing if you have an international certificate. Why it's a huge thing? It's a question for me, because I think certification is certification, but this is the world that we live in. So the German certificate means a lot. I'll stop there.
Naomi, can I quickly chip in?
Of course.
I don't know if, yeah, it's working. It's not only a big thing, I think, the code to tell for the students, but also very much so for the University of Hildesheim. At one hand, at the academic level, I think that at the very beginning, and Naomi, I think you witnessed this, that sometimes like notions of what is art, what is culture, really tend to clash, if I may say, at those workshops. But then it has also been a learning process of, okay, there might be other perspectives to it. And yeah, I think that the code to tell supervisors and all the academic staff who is involved from our side are also very much learning from this process. Yeah. And then Hildesheim, as you might figure, is a rather small university, so with about 7,000 students, and a rather small administrative corpus. And we are trying to internationalize ourselves, but this is also a learning process, because administrative questions might pop up regarding internationalization, because it's not very common, for example, to transfer money to Nigeria or Ghana. And sometimes you really realize that it becomes an administrative struggle, so to speak, but it's only at the same time, it's also a learning process, because if you do this once or twice, maybe the obstacles there are, just the logistical obstacles, you get the hang of it, you talk it through with administration, and then also one step at a time, our university is just becoming more open and more international. So it's really a two-way street, I would say, this code to tell.
So you see, we just basically acted it out, that having two different voices matter, you know. Another thing that I would also want to say is not on the side of the project, but like in the outside world. That's why most of our students are really excited if they get this code to tell, because then they feel that they have an edge. And if we want to be honest, they do have an edge, because I also have an international certificate and I have seen what it has done to my career. And it's not because I'm better than anyone or better than the person who just didn't have the opportunity. But yeah, the experiences of even Hildesheim opening up, as my colleague has said, is really true. We have seen cases where when we came in the beginning, it was a little bit like tough, but as time went on, I think people got used to seeing us around, especially even within the center, which was a huge thing. So if you can change another person's perspective, it's always a pleasure to do that. And I think our project is one of these unique program that is gradually doing that, changing the perspective and saying, yes, there can be a seamless working relationship where everything actually really works. I'm not saying we do not have problems, but I can say for a fact also that any problem that arises, we have a solution for it somehow. I don't know how that also works, but it always works. Would like to show you faces to the people that I've mentioned. So apart from being part of the first cohort, that was 2016, 2017, yeah, 18, 2019, thereabout, something of that nature. So that was a long time ago, that's the point. We've had a second cohort, and now we're on the third cohort. So we want to introduce you to the third cohort so that we're also not talking in abstraction. It's a long video, but we'll just play 5 minutes of the clip.
Do we have to share the sound for the Zoom audience?
So before we start, the Ghanaian workshop that I said we just did, this is an abstract from it. So you only see one country, and I hope when we get another video of Nigeria, we'll send it to Dr. Diallo, and he can show it to you so that you have two different case studies to compare.
I have never felt this free in class to voice out my thoughts.
I am most grateful for this opportunity. It's great being here. I would be happy for every day of my life.
What do I think about this project in one word?
Synergy.
I'll say amazing. This workshop is really amazing.
Educative.
Excited, so enthused about the whole program.
It beats my imagination and expectation.
Life-changing.
Unlike other MOUs that always focus on bilateral interest between two universities, here we have a situation where three universities from two continents are brought together to offer very unique academic perspective.
It involves 3 major universities, and for us in the University of Cape Coast, well, I would want to say that it comprises University of Cape Coast, Ghana, University of Maiduguri in Nigeria, and the University of Hildesheim in Germany. This is unique because most of the collaborations have been in South-South, but to move beyond just UCC, it's something very extraordinary.
We have something very special here. I have seen very few programs like this in the university with such an impact.
Indeed, as we are here the 7th year now, so we feel almost as home as well. So Cape Coast has become a little bit our university. It is like feeling home, and that is special. Our main ambition is really to see all the young people who are right in front of us, to see them through in the coming 3 years, really to finish the PhD.
My name is Clara Asarina. I'm with Department of English, University of Cape Coast, and I am part of the SD school too. I am honored to be part of this wonderful program.
My name is Jilmari Yusuplasa. I'm a PhD candidate, and I'm working on a project titled Traditional Institutions, Peace Education and De-radicalization, Insights into the Reintegration of ex-Boko Haram insurgents. The decision of choosing that particular topic is influenced by my background. I have experienced peace and I've experienced the conflict.
So my name is Gandhi Josephine Dofan. I come from Benue State, Nigeria. I am currently researching on the topic cultural tourism and sustainable development.
I'm hoping to get my work to be very much enriched, and the different intellectual takes from the Germans, from the Ghanaians, and from the Nigerians is actually going to put my topic on the next level.
I think what makes our graduate school so quite unique is the spirit we have. And it is the spirit between, of course, the colleagues from Hildesheim or the international experts we invite and the students here. But from my end, even more important is the South-South cooperation. Because usually a student from Cape Coast would never ever have a chance to meet a student from Maiduguri. And they have a lot to say to each other because they come from quite diverse academic backgrounds, quite diverse social backgrounds. But what we experience in all the workshops is really a very good cooperation, a high, intense level of communication.
Coexistence. Mine has to be the hospitality and also a jollof rice.
Transparency. Unity in diversity.
Containment.
Artistic creation.
Understanding.
Communal spirit.
And unity.
Okay, warmth.
Unity in diversity.
For this.
So at some point, we are going to upload the video and send Dr. Diallo the link, and all of you can have access to it. Yeah, those are the people that we work with, the students, and you've also seen some of the directors in the video. Another thing I wanted to make or stress is how we try as much as we can to use artistic approaches in solving our community's problems. I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was today or yesterday, where there was a stress that we actually have solutions to our problems. So we do not particularly have to wait for an external person or body to come help us solve that problem. So one of the points that the project wanted to stress is how we can use indigenous knowledge in actually tackling societal problems and using artistic approaches. I feel, and I think some of my colleagues would also feel, that when you're looking for a scholarship, you would get 1,000 scholarships on STEM projects, that's the sciences. But before you see artistic scholarship is a little bit difficult. So that's another unique point, I think, for this project, which I'm really happy about, that the DAAD agreed to sponsor it. It's doing a lot. It's doing a lot within the community. We have 2 students again that were in the video that would share directly with all of you their experiences and exactly how they tackle their problems. And we are mostly, or at least 90%, using qualitative approaches in gathering data. So it's artistic, qualitative approaches, which means you actually have to go there. We do not rely on numbers. We don't really stress the need of a large crowd of people, but then we are determined to get a reflection of exactly what is happening within the community. Yeah, we are really proud of our first cohort. That's us again. Attached to this program, we have the DAA, the alumni program, which we started last year. We had our second workshop. The first workshop was in Ghana in December. The second workshop was in April, and we came to Germany for it. So you can also see how we're trying to remain intercultural and international, right? I think. It's a process where we are still thinking about what next. So you've had this funding, you've done amazing works. We've produced, I think right now, 18 doctoral students who are actively relevant in their fields. Again, due to the network that the SDG has provided most of us. But then what next? So one of the things that this alumni project is trying to target is the question of what next, and what you need also when you're done studying. So now you're in the field and actively practicing. What are the skills that you need? The alumni project tries to get in contact with the professors and see how we can get more impact from all of you, and how we can also inculcate it into our own local contexts. Yes, our last workshop will be in Uganda. I think you will talk more about that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit on the Uganda workshop, because I think this also shows not only our interest in developing solely academic networks, but in Uganda, actually the application for this program was written together with a civil society organization, which is a joint project between artists and cultural scientists in Hildesheim, but also in Rwanda and in Uganda, which is called Pengo. And actually we're using their networks to make our last workshop happen in Uganda. And the focus there will be on cultural entrepreneurship, and the person who will be responsible for coordinating this workshop has also a lot of contacts into civil society. So we can also have some outreach there, create networks. Yeah.
Another thing, we would send you a link to our website, because it has certain activities that we are not just educative, we also try to reach out to the community. So we partner with civil society in different aspects of our work. But like Leah said, one of the main things that we want to do, especially when it comes to Maiduguri, is the action of peace due to the Boko Haram insurgency. So it's our daily reality, but how do we make it better? We have so many people living within the IDP camps, internally displaced camps. So how will our work directly reflect on our immediate community and also make that better? So that's where, again, the civil society really comes into play, because we really partner with such organizations to also carry out projects. So I don't want to talk more about those projects that we've carried out. We'll try and circulate the link. We have short videos, also short write-ups about the things that we have done actively with the community.